Lexi.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Gabe.
The year is 1970, and this is the Scoop of the 60s. Stay tuned for some interesting news stories, an interview, and more. Now we'll be doing our main story, the assassination of our late president, John F. Kennedy. Here's a clip of the horrific incident. Viewer discretion is advised. On November 22, 1963, President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated by former U.S. Marine Lee Harvey Oswald. The president was riding in the presidential limousine in Dallas, Texas, with his wife and the governor of Texas. It was in his presidential motorcade where the president and the governor were both shot. Governor Connolly of Texas was seriously wounded from the gunshot wound, and President Kennedy was taken to Parkland Memorial Hospital. Around 30 minutes later, the president was pronounced dead. The assassin was arrested and, upon his transfer from the city to the county jail, was shot by a local nightclub owner.
August 15th to August 18th, 1969, Woodstock took place. Woodstock was a music festival in Bethel, New York, with about 400,000 attendees. Today, I will be interviewing a woman who attended Woodstock last year.
Hi.
So how many days did you spend at the festival?
Oh, I spent all 3 days at the festival. It didn't matter if I slept in my car or in a small tent. I simply couldn't have missed a second of the happiness.
Did you go by yourself to the festival, or did you go with a group of friends?
I traveled to the festival in a Volkswagen Type 2 with 4 girls and 3 guys. The festival was a perfect time to share with friends.
What were you there for? At any point did your interest and excitement go beyond the music to just being there?
At first, the music was the only thing that attracted me to the festival. The lineup was killer and all, but the community is what got me. When we arrived and saw the people, the way they dressed, the way they talked, I felt a strong sense of community. I just had this feeling of optimism and confidence.
Did a lot of sharing occur at the festival?
From pop to food to clothes, we were all one big family.
What was your favorite band or artist?
Country Joe and the Fish. Their performance was out of this world.
Thank you for coming out to the interview today.
My pleasure.
Next up, please enjoy an ad from our sponsor, Coca-Cola.
I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love.
After some intense Super Bowl action, have an all-American pause. Head over to the refrigerator and grab yourself a cool, refreshing bottle of Coca-Cola.
Like to teach the world.
All-American choice for timeout is the pause that refreshes with Coca-Cola. Get one today in a store near you. In 1964, the first ever Ford Mustang was released by the Ford Company. Here's a couple pictures of our very own crew members on the scene. This car has actually created a new class of cars called the pony car. Now, many other brands like the Chevy Camaro are competing with their own pony cars. Project Design Chief Joe Oros wanted the cars to appeal to women, but he wanted men to desire it too. He also wanted the car to be sporty, with European design mixed in. Clearly, the design was extremely successful because sales have been through the roof since 1964.
So, Brian, what did you think of the brand new Mustang that came out?
I don't know, Zach. I mean, you look pretty good in those pictures. You gonna buy one?
No, I personally think the Chevy Camaro is just a better car. You know, I think I look a lot better with it.
We'll have to see.
Up next with sports is Gabe Yurkich.
In 1967, the first AFL-NFL World Championship game, or Super Bowl, was played between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers in the Los Angeles Coliseum. The Chiefs, led by coach Hank Stram, went into this game with an 11-2-1 record during the 1966 AFL season. They beat the Buffalo Bills in the AFL Championship game. Vince Lombardi coached the Green Bay Packers in a solid 12-2 record, and they managed to squeeze a 34-27 victory over the Dallas Cowboys in a 1966 NFL Championship game. The first half shocked many footballing predictions of an easy win for the Packers. Instead of it being the predicted dominance, the first half proved to be very competitive. It was a back-and-forth game as the Packers gained a 14-10 lead at halftime. The second half propelled the Packers to victory as Elijah Pitts scored 2 touchdowns in the second half. The Green Bay Packers won the game 35-10 after a shutout in the second half. Now, back to the studio.
On August 28, 1963, Dr. King delivered a speech to over 250,000 civil rights supporters on the steps of the Washington Monument following the March on Washington.
One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
The civil rights movement has been building over the past few years with the rise of Martin Luther King Jr. The March on Washington represents the climax of this movement for equal rights of the Negro people. During his speech, Reverend King speaks of the gap between the American dream and reality. King stated that America has given the Negro people a bad check, but that the people have come to cash this check.
The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man made his first appearance in August 1962 on Amazing Fantasy number 15, but got his own comic book, The Amazing Spider-Man, in March 1963. Throughout this decade, the comic book's popularity has skyrocketed. Sales have been through the roof ever since the comic book was released, and even today, in 1970, it's still thought of as one of the best comic book series ever. It's really popular among kids, like my daughter Layla.
I love Spider-Man!
But I personally don't think of Spider-Man as having much of a positive effect on kids. As J. Jonah Jameson always says, that Spider-Man's a menace. She's been a total maniac, and I'm sure she's not the only one who's been acting this way because of comic books. Comics have been increasing violence in kids all over the country, so I think that there should be age restrictions.
Spider-Man rules!
And in conclusion, Spider-Man ruined my life.